These punks were totally asking for it. They straight up blocked this dude's path. Then they pulled out a knife to try and intimidate him, like they had no clue who they were messing with. This guy was no joke. Without even a word, the man throws a punch right into the guy's face. Then he grabs an iron pipe and just cleans house on these wannabe tough guys. Every time one of them tried to step up, bam, free knuckle sandwich, and they were on the ground crying for their mama. Seriously, like a bunch of babies. Now, this guy's name is Minte. Back in the day, he was the top dog, the best fighter in the Changmo gang. Even the head honcho, the big boss himself, respected him. But he's hung up his gloves, done with that life. Now he just kind of hangs around, feeds his cat, living the quiet life. He finishes making the cat food and looks at his phone. He gets a text from his younger brother, Sukte. Sukte's begging for Minte to come home, saying he screwed up big time, got himself into some trouble. Minte curses under his breath, grabs a handful of change, and heads out. He's walking by a building, and there's this whole commotion going on outside. Turns out, the construction boss hasn't paid his workers, so they're there demanding their money. The boss is just being a jerk, telling them to get lost. Minte sees this, and being the stand-up guy that he is, he can't let it slide. He walks right through the door. Before the boss knows what's happening, Minte smacks him in the head with a metal tray. What's your problem? You hire people to work, then you don't pay them? If you don't pay half up front, you're gonna have a bad time. The guy is terrified, begging for mercy. Minte doesn't say much, just makes his point. Then he heads to the bank and deposits 750,000 won into an account for Munyang. After that, he swings by Sukte's place, but nobody's home. Minte calls, but no answer. This is weird because neither his brother nor his sister-in-law is picking up. Meanwhile, the cops get a call about an assault. Some rich kid got stabbed and is in a coma. They collect some evidence, take pictures of the scene. The police chief tells them to keep it quiet, don't release any info, and find the guy who did it. Detective Park pulls up a picture of Sukte, saying he hangs out with this rich kid. If they can find him, they might get a lead. So the detective and his guys go to investigate. Since they can't get in touch with Sukte, the cops are starting to worry. They look into Sukte's background and see the name Minte, the guy who went to prison years ago for sticking up for his brother. And after he got out, he was mixed up with the mob. Detective Park is loving this. He thinks to himself, looks like my lucky stars are aligning. I've got a protector looking out for me. Detective Park sees Minte walking by and mocks him, saying, look at you, a man who thought he was invincible, now hiding away in this rundown area. The two cops drive to Sukte's apartment and look around. Detective Park sees a book on the table and is about to pick it up when the neighbor shows up. They ask her about Sukte and his family. The landlady says she hasn't seen Sukte's wife in days. She also mentions that Sukte and Munyang had a pretty rocky marriage, and that Sukte often mistreated her. After they had a child, Munyang gave the child up for adoption, fearing it would affect the child. The detective asks if anyone's been around lately, and the old woman says Sukte's brother just left. Why didn't you say something sooner? She replied, well, you didn't ask me. At the same time, Minte goes to the Changmo gang's headquarters all by himself. Minte walks right into the boss's office like he owns the place, cuts straight to the chase, and asks if they've seen or heard from Sukte recently. Boss Chong, who's in the middle of smoking a cigarette, has to put it out. He says Sukte's been gone for a while, not just a day or two. He figures Sukte probably messed up again and is hiding in some hole somewhere. Minte tries to see if the Samjori gang might be involved. The boss gets annoyed and says they have nothing to do with each other anymore. He tells Minte to stay out of it. As for Sukte, he says he'll look into it and tells Minte just to stay home and wait for news. Stay put and I'll let you know, cool? That night, Minte is eating noodles when he runs into an old gang member. He's still looking for Sukte everywhere he goes. The guy says he saw Sukte at a karaoke bar a few days ago, but he doesn't know where he went after that. Minte acknowledges what he hears and doesn't say much. He gets up and leaves. Then, this woman is walking her dog by the river when she finds a body with all its limbs missing. The cops get the call, and after comparing DNA, they quickly confirm that the dead guy is Sukte, Minte's brother. Detective Park calls Minte to the morgue to identify the body. Minte shakily pulls back the white sheet. Seeing his brother lying there, lifeless, with his eyes closed, breaks his heart. Minte makes a vow. He'll find the person who did this, no matter what it costs, and get revenge for his brother. I swear on everything that they're going to pay. After that, Minte goes to see his old gang buddy again. He used to trust this guy a lot, so he wants him to investigate how Suktae died. Byung-kyu acts awkward about it, saying he wants to help, but he has to get permission from Boss Chong first. Minte doesn't want to put him in a tough spot, so he leaves. Then he goes to the Samjori gang's headquarters. The guards outside see Minte coming, and they're not happy. Minte is there for payback. He figures the Samjori gang and the Changemo gang are rivals, so they probably didn't like each other. Minte tries to be polite at first and asks to speak to their boss. But these lowlifes don't care and start yelling at him for trespassing. They even pull out knives and tell Minte to get lost. Looks like these guys messed with the wrong person. Minte grabs a pipe and starts taking them on, one by one. Every guy who tries to attack him gets a beatdown and ends up on the ground groaning. Scared, they start begging for mercy, saying their boss is out of the country on business. Minte takes the information and gets in the car with Byung-kyu and leaves. The cops aren't sitting still either. Detective Park finds out that Suktae's last stop was Boss Chang's karaoke bar. After searching the place, they determined that room 9 was the first crime scene. Right now, they can't tell if it was murder or an accident. At that moment, a colleague comes to report to the detective. They just found out that after Suktae died, Munyang, his wife, emptied all the money from her bank account. Also, the karaoke bar's security cameras weren't working. Looks like someone deliberately messed them up. Another important clue is that the last person Munyang contacted was Young, a writer who recently published a best-selling book called Night Walk. Detective Park and his partner, Detective Min, head over to this writer Young's office. They walk right in and ask him point blank, "Do you know a woman named Munyang?" The cops figured out that Munyang called Young one night a few days back. Young asks, "Why are you asking me about this?" The detective explains, "Munyang's boyfriend was murdered, and now she's missing. We're hoping you might know something." Young thinks for a second and says, "Munyang was in a writing class I taught. I haven't seen or spoken to her since. So what exactly is your relationship with her?" "Just a writer and a fan." Meanwhile, Kang Ho comes back from a business trip. He hears that Minte beat up his guys and gets furious. Kang Ho knows Minte is a tough fighter, so as soon as he sees him, he pulls out a gun and puts it on the table. Minte says, "My brother, Suktae, was murdered. I want to know if the Samjori gang had anything to do with it." Kang Ho seems genuinely surprised, quickly puts the gun away, and says, "You've got the wrong guy. If you want to know why Suktae's dead, you should ask Munyang." Minte knows Kang Ho's personality pretty well, so when he hears him say that, he knows something's fishy. Later that night, Young checks his Gmail inbox and finds an anonymous email. Inside is a recording that Munyang gave him earlier. After listening to the recording, Young calls a hacker friend and asks him to help track down where the anonymous email came from and who sent it. "Dude, I need you to work your magic." At the same time, Minte and Byung-yu go to the karaoke bar where Munyang worked. The cops have it taped off and heavily guarded. Minte tells Byung-yu to go find out what's going on. Later, they meet up at a roadside diner near the karaoke bar. Byung-yu tells Minte that it looks like Suktae was murdered at the karaoke bar, and the top suspect is Munyang. They're talking when Young walks into the diner. He's asking the owner about Munyang. Minte and Byung-yu both jump when they hear the name Munyang. The employee freezes for a second and then quickly says they don't know anything. "Nope, never heard of her." But as he's about to leave, the owner runs after him and tells him to follow him. Sensing something's up, Minte quickly follows the car. What he finds out is that the apartment Suktae shared with Munyang is Young's destination. He sneaks around and finds a strange book. Isn't that his novel? Why is it there? Wait a minute, hold up. He hears a noise and turns around. Minte is standing in the doorway, waiting for him. Casually, he asks why Young is there and what his relationship with Munyang is. Young thinks Minte is the abusive boyfriend that Munyang talked about. He realizes that he's trespassing and apologizes, saying he's going to leave. Minte can't let this suspect leave without an explanation. He grabs Young by the collar and demands that he explain his relationship with Munyang. "You're not going anywhere, buddy. I need some answers." Just then, the landlady suddenly appears at the door, followed by Detective Park, looking serious. Minte and Young are both taken to the police station. The detective stares at Young and tells him to explain why he was trespassing. Young stammers, "I heard the detective say Munyang was missing, so I was a little worried and went to check on her." "Why is it that in your novel, Mr. Young, The main characters' experiences are so similar to Munyang's. Both had abusive boyfriends, their boyfriends both died from poisoning, and the female leads both mysteriously disappeared. Munyang quickly explains those are all fictional elements. If there are similarities, it's just a coincidence. The detective thinks he's acting shady, but he doesn't have any proof, so he has to let him go. After leaving the police station, Minte rushes after Munyang, wanting to talk to him. Munyang refuses point blank, but Minte doesn't give up and demands that he explain the novel. Munyang loses his patience. It's just a fictional novel. If you want to know about Suktae's death, you should ask the cops. He's obviously hiding something, and Minte doesn't know what's in the novel. He gets in his car and leaves. Then, Minte goes to Suktae's apartment and grabs Munyang's book, Night Walk, off the table. That night, he read the entire novel in one sitting. Compared to the police, Minte knows Suktae and Munyang better. As soon as he finishes the first part, he feels like Munyang just copied Suktae and Munyang's lives into the novel. This startling discovery convinces Minte that Munyang is connected to his brother's death. This guy's definitely involved. Minte remembers that Munyang ran away from home a few times and always hid out at the homes of relatives and friends. She could be doing that now. So he tells Byung-gyu to drive to Chongyangni restaurant. On Munyang's side, his hacker friend has found the address of the anonymous email, as well as Chongyangni restaurant. He quickly goes there and meets a young man. This is Myung-woo, Munyang's brother. Myung-woo thinks that Munyang put the idea of killing Suktae in his sister's head. Munyang is freaked out when he hears this and asks, "Where's the recording now?" Myung-woo doesn't answer and turns to leave. When he gets home, he notices that things are a little out of place, like someone broke in. Just then, Minte walks out of the bathroom and greets him. Minte grabs a bottle of soju from the fridge and offers Myung-woo a drink. Myung-woo has met Minte before and knows his background, so he just sits down in front of him. Well, this is awkward. Minte asks Myung-woo, "Where's your sister?" "I don't know. I know Munyang has been through a lot of pain over the years, all caused by Suktae. But even so, Munyang shouldn't have killed Suktae. Only when Suktae died could my sister escape her suffering." Minte punches him in the face when he hears that. Then he takes out a picture of Munyang's daughter and asks where the child is now. "I need to know where your niece is, and you're going to tell me." Myung-woo doesn't say anything. Minte just gets up and leaves. He goes to see Munyang's best friend. He has to use some strong-arm tactics to get a lead. He tells Byung-gyu to threaten the woman's customers with a knife around the restaurant. The woman's mom freaks out and calls her daughter. When the woman shows up, Minte takes out a picture of Munyang's daughter and forces her to give him the kid's address. The friend has no choice but to give Minte a location. "Don't make me do this, lady. Just tell me where the kid is." Then, Minte goes to a restaurant in the market. He sits down and immediately asks the owner if she knows Munyang. The owner says she doesn't. Minte gets up, goes to the bathroom, and carefully searches every stall, but he doesn't find anything. When he comes back, Minte sees a table nearby with half-finished dishes and food. Someone was clearly sitting there recently. Putting the pieces together, he realizes he just walked past Munyang and her daughter. "Doh, I almost had them." Minte immediately runs out of the restaurant and searches everywhere. But the market is so crowded, he can't find them. Frustrated, Minte comes back with a gas tank, locks the doors, and opens the valve, scaring the owner and her husband half to death. Minte forces them to tell him where Munyang is hiding. The owner cries and says Munyang only said she was going to see a friend, and she doesn't know anything else. "Please, I'm begging you. I really don't know." At the same time, Detective Min goes to the karaoke bar alone. On the computer at the front desk, she finds a bunch of audio files of Munyang's confessions. They're all material for Munyang's novel. On Minte's side, the lead on Munyang has completely dried up, but he's not giving up easily. Suddenly, he remembers his brother said he met Munyang in Hanum. He decides to go to Hanum that night. Time for a road trip. Detective Min is at the karaoke bar listening to Munyang's recordings all night. Just as she's about to finish listening to the last file, the detective rushes in. "What are you doing here?" Min plays a recording for the detective. "We need to find Minte ASAP." Over on Munyang's side, he's panicking and running to the parking lot. All three groups, Minte, Munyang, and the detective, are heading to Hanum, Munyang's hometown. On the road, Byung-gyu asks Minte, "If we find out that Munyang killed Suktae, what are you going to do?" "Then I guess Munyang will just have to join Suktae." Before long, they get to the tea house where Munyang used to work in Hanum. As soon as Minte walks in, he asks the owner about Munyang. When the owner hears the name Munyang, she clearly jumps, but immediately says she doesn't know her and rushes to the counter to pretend to be busy. The attitude bothers Minte and the gang. He makes a scene and is quickly stabbed in the palm with a pen. The rest of the guys don't fare well. This isn't going to end well. Byungyu, waiting in the car, sees Horyung arrive. As soon as Horyung gets out of the car, Byungyu rolls down the window and glares at him with a menacing look. In the tea house, Minte is just finishing dealing with the gang when Horyung walks in. The two make eye contact. Minte smiles, takes off his jacket, and tells the owner to bring him 2 glasses of soju. This is when the owner, completely out of it, sends a text message to Munyang. Horyung sits down, and Minte asks him what he's doing there again. Horyung doesn't answer. Just then, a woman walks in. "Hey sis, Munyang's back. too. Let's go get some barbecue." Minte and Horyung both hear that. The owner frantically tells her to be quiet and goes into the tea house's break room. Minte gets up and goes in front of the owner, asking her again where Munyang is. The owner has seen how dangerous Minte is and has no choice but to say Munyang is at her house. Minte and Byungyu force the owner to drive them to her house. "Get in the car and drive. Now." Horyung notices the owner left her phone on the table. He opens it and sees messages between the owner and Munyang. He's worried about Munyang's safety and calls her. A little while later, under the owner's direction, Minte arrives at her house, but they search the entire house and can't find Munyang. Horyung finds the female employee from the tea house. "Where does the tea house owner live?" After being pressed, the employee blurts out, "Upstairs." Horyung immediately runs upstairs and opens every room to search. At this time, Byungyu secretly calls the second-in-command of the gang and reports that Minte has found Munyang. The second-in-command immediately reports to Boss Chong. Boss Chong takes the call and gives Byungyu a secret mission. Minte is still searching for Munyang everywhere when a man walks in and greets the tea house owner. Minte turns around and sees it's a middle-aged cop. Hearing the man talk, Minte realizes he's been tricked by the owner. This is the middle-aged cop's house, making Minte furious. "Are you kidding me? I've been played." Horyung finds children's books and a warm cup of tea in a room. Just then, the tea house owner's phone rings. It's Munyang. She says she's at the bus station. Horyung immediately drives straight to the bus station. Minte and Byungyu are driving back to the tea house. The 2 cars pass each other. Minte spots Horyung and quickly tells Byungyu to turn around and follow him. But as soon as they turn around and are about to catch up, a truck suddenly blocks their path. Turns out it's the guys Minte beat up earlier, and they're back for revenge with a bunch of their buddies. The goons immediately surround Minte's car. He kicks one guy out of the way, and Byungyu quickly starts the car and drives straight through the crowd. On Munyang's side, she's holding her daughter and is lost in thought. She remembers the night of the incident. Suktae was at the rich kid's mansion. Whether it was from a drug overdose or some kind of argument, Suktae got worked up and stabbed the guy a few times. Things got wild. When he came to his senses and saw the other guy lying in a pool of blood, Suktae knew he had made a huge mistake and rushed to Boss Chang's karaoke bar to report. Hearing this, the boss got angry, yelling at Suktae for being an idiot and not knowing his place. Now the rich kid's family has too much influence. He asks why Suktae did it, and Suktae says the guy wanted Munyang to sleep with him. As soon as he finishes speaking, the rich kid's people call Boss Chong. He hesitates for a moment and then leaves the room to take the call. After talking for a while, Boss Chong hangs up and grabs a screwdriver from the counter. Then he goes back to room 9. Munyang sees this and has mixed feelings. Over the years, she's been beaten by Suktae many times. With Suktae's brutal brother, Minte, in the picture, every day she hoped Suktae would have an accident. But now, seeing Boss Chong about to harm Suktae, she's both tense and scared. Munyang thinks it over and calls Horyung, but he doesn't answer. Boss Chong walks into the room and asks Suktae if he has met anyone else after running from the mansion. Suktae shakes his head. Boss Chong suddenly stabs the screwdriver into Suktae's neck, stunning him. He can't believe the boss is killing him. Seeing that Suktae isn't dead yet, Boss Chong stabs him a few more times, aiming for the heart. Munyang hesitates for a long time, about to go into the room to see what's happening, when Boss Chong walks out and tells her to close the karaoke bar immediately. A little later, Boss Chong calls the second-in-command to come to the karaoke bar to take care of Suktae's body. Then he gives Munyang 2 choices: Either follow Suktae, or run away to a place where no one knows her and live a quiet life until she dies. Munyang wants to live, so she chooses option 2. Boss Chong warns her that if she's discovered by the police or found by Minte, Suktae's brother, then neither she nor her daughter will survive. Munyang nods. Back in the present, Horyung rushes to the bus station. Not long after, Minte and Byungyu arrive. Horyung looks around the bus station, searching for Munyang. Minte gets out of the car and also searches everywhere for Munyang. Suddenly, Minte spots Horyung. He figures Horyung must know where Munyang is, so he quickly walks towards him. When Horyung sees Minte, he panics and walks faster, trying to hide from Minte in the crowd. Just then, Byungyu spots someone in the corner of the bus station who looks a lot like Munyang. He quickly signals to Minte. Minte immediately turns and runs towards that corner. Horyung also notices their actions. Munyang is nervously running away, her stomach clenching with anxiety. The three are weaving through the crowd, causing chaos for the passengers around them. While looking for Munyang, Minte suddenly sees the gangster he beat up earlier leading 2 police officers into the bus station. Unfortunately, they quickly spot him too. Minte has to dodge the cops and continues searching for Munyang. Horyung searches for a long time and finally sees Munyang and her daughter in the waiting room. Munyang looks up and sees him. At this moment, Minte also arrives at the waiting room and sees Munyang. But before he can react, Byungyu suddenly appears in front of Munyang and stabs her. Minte witnesses the scene and is stunned. Byungyu glances at him and leaves Munyang, then turns and runs away. Minte looks at the injured Munyang and then at Byungyu running away. He grits his teeth and chases after him. The two chase each other out of the bus station. Byungyu runs to the car, quickly jumps in, and speeds away, ignoring Minte's shouts behind him. Minte is completely lost. Just then, he sees a taxi parked on the side of the road with the driver outside talking to someone. Without thinking twice, he rushes over and steals the car, chasing after Byungyu. "Sorry dude, gotta borrow this." The 2 cars race through the night, swerving wildly, making the other drivers on the road pray. Finally, Byungyu swerves to avoid the car in front of him and crashes into the side of a bridge. Minte crashes into his car. Even though he's injured, Minte doesn't care. He goes to Byungyu and drags him out of the car, wanting to know why he did it. Byungyu just keeps apologizing, refusing to tell the truth. "Just tell me who told you to do it." Ever since he found his brother's body, Minte has been investigating everywhere. At first, he thought Munyang, his brother's wife, was the killer. But Byungyu's attack on Munyang throws all of his previous assumptions into chaos. However, from Byungyu's unusual actions, he vaguely feels that his brother's death is definitely related to Boss Chong of the Chong-mo gang. Then, Minte searches everywhere and finds the hospital where Munyang is being treated. In the hospital hallway, he sees the tea house owner and Munyang's daughter. From the owner's expression, he's sure Munyang is still alive, but he doesn't bother them. He just quietly leaves. Minte shows up at the docks where the Chong-mo gang hangs out. The right-hand man of the gang comes out when he sees Minte. He walks up to Minte to greet him. "Is Boss Chong in the office?" Boss Chong is busy. He doesn't have time to see outsiders. Minte doesn't say a word. He grabs a bottle and smashes it over the man's head. The gang members see this and join in. Minte doesn't waver. Facing a large number of enemies, he calmly takes out his signature weapons and beats them one by one. Beaten by sticks, he uses this fish right here. Sure enough, anything in his hands becomes a weapon, beating them so badly that their own parents don't recognize them. He takes a lot of knife wounds, but he's not fazed. Before long, he's taken care of all the goons. Boss Chong, who witnessed everything, is still enjoying his drink. Minte walks up to him, trying to stay patient, and asks where his brother's body is. But the old man indifferently replies that it's good that he even found a body. Some people die and their bodies are never found. He gives him a chance to finish his drink, and then Minte stabs him with a knife, killing him. Then, Minte takes Boss Chang's phone, walks out of the restaurant, and dials the number of the mastermind behind ordering Boss Chong to kill his brother. And that's where the movie ends. I think the ending is unfinished. Maybe the filmmakers will make a part 2. Are you looking forward to the new part to see how Minte will deal with the person behind it? If so, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so I can let you know when there's a new part. And now, goodbye and see you later.